Hey, pick 'em pie, big gun Brian Petrie, giving out the lot. One is mortal, you know it won't miss. Gonna take a shot, dog lock, that's the underdog. Yeah, they in the hunt. Send them home, that's KO or submission. Yeah, somebody done. Slime ball, yeah, that's the parlay. We gon' make it known. Pick 'em pie from MMA tapes. Yeah, let's get it going.
We got a big one for you, boys and girls. I've name dropped him a few times on the podcast. Yes, I am friends with him. Yes, he knows a shit ton about MMA. It's a 3-time All-Star, 3-time Golden Glove, played in 2 goddamn World Series, Rookie of the Year, Evan Longoria. Let's give it up for Evan Longoria. Thank you for joining us, my friend.
Thank you, my brother. Thanks for having me, and thanks for kind of like breaking my cherry, man. My broadcaster MMA cherry.
I can't wait. People might not know that you were upset. You've been on the Anakin Florian a few times. That's obviously how you discovered me. We became friends. You gave me this bat that's over my shoulder from the Reds game last year, and we've been texting ever since. You're a diehard fan. You have just started training the art of jiu-jitsu with the wonderful master Tim Welch. I saw you were rolling in California today. How'd that go?
Yeah, pretty good. Just they let me drop in Gracie Baja Jiu-Jitsu here in Roanoke Park. So shout out to them. Thanks for letting me come in and train. Got some good rounds. Got subbed a few times by a blue and a purple. So that's always always nice. But
you got to watch out for those fucking blue belts, man. They'll take your arm. The blue belts are the most dangerous ones. They're the ones that are like, I know my shit, and they'll fucking kill you. I actually, since you've been training, I'm trying to get in shape and back in shape, and I went and boxed a couple nights ago, and some guy had some really shitty gloves, and his leather burned me here and here. So get some better gloves out there, people. Real quick, before we jump in, we're going to go top to bottom or bottom to top. You're going to give me your locks, all that good shit. You get asked a ton of questions about baseball. We're not here to talk about baseball. We're here to talk about fighting. But the one question I have for you before we kick it off is I found out recently that your entire MLB career never got tossed from a game, which is insane.
Never.
Because I told you I played Little League for about 6 years. I got tossed at least once a year. So it's super impressive to me that you did that. However, you've played a billion games, and there's probably been a lot of bench clearing situations with you, at least a handful. Was there ever a time you ran on the field to protect your guys or for your boys, and someone was like squaring up with you, like, whoa, I'm just here? Has that ever happened to you?
No, I never got squared up on. Did like the basic baseball, like, pushing and pulling and just trying to get guys out of there.
Yeah.
I never actually threw a punch, never actually really like had any sort of I mean, the biggest argument I think everybody knows about is me and BJ,
which I just saw recently. Yeah, right.
So that was probably the most, heated argument that I had ever been in on a field. I mean, of course, some jawing here and there, hits, get by a pitch or whatever, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, and it's even more impressive that you played that long and Angel Hernandez umped some of your games. You never got tossed out with that guy, because I'm not the biggest baseball fan in the world, but I know Angel Hernandez's name. That guy, woo!
There's been some. I think as you get like further along, like, I wouldn't, you kind of know your spots, right? Like if I know the pitch is a bad pitch, I get called out strike 3. Like as I got more tenure underneath my belt, like I knew like how far I could go, like before they were going to throw me out. And a lot of times they knew they were wrong. They respected my, the way that I went about it, and they gave me the benefit of the doubt sometimes. So maybe earlier in my career, some of the things that I had said later in my career might have gotten me thrown out, but I always I also too, like I always thought about like, if there was a kid there that came to see me play, like that was like, I was always like, well, do I really want to like do that? Like I was more valuable to my team on the field.
Right. I remember Joey Votto got tossed, and there was like a girl that was wearing a shirt that said like, I love Votto. And he like came out and gave her like a glove and bat or whatever. Cause you're right. I mean, kids are like, I came to see, Evan, and he's fucking gone after the first inning. The two, I was at the game years ago where Brandon Phillips and Molina got into it, and then Roland got into it, and it was a huge brawl. And then I was at the game with my wife when Puig was on a team, and they threw behind Derek Dietrich, and that became a fucking against the Pirates.
Yeah, that was a melee.
Yeah, so I'm like, so I've been to, I don't go to a ton of Reds games, but I'm like, so the two I've been to like within the past whatever years, there's been fights. I mean, I'm just bringing the fucking chaos.
It's like going to a hockey game.
Yeah, right. I mean, they know, the MMA guys here, we got to fight. All right, here we go. First fight of the night. We're kicking it off with some chicks. JJ Aldridge, plus 120 versus Veronica Hardy, minus 142. Veronica Hardy is Dan Hardy's wife. Last name used to be like Machado or something like that. Since she's been married to Dan Hardy and since she's been fighting under the Hardy name, very smart, very skilled. She's winning fights closely. She's not dominant any area, but she's squeaking them out. And you got JJ Aldridge coming from Colorado. Rose Namajunas, his training partner. She's got good cardio. She's got good boxing, decent takedown defense, but she's never really got like over that hump. This fight's gonna go to a fucking decision. So you play the over at the giant number, whatever it is. That's free money. I'm gonna lean Hardy though. I usually like to kick the night off with an underdog, but spoiler alert, there's a lot of fucking underdogs in this card that I love. So I'm gonna go Hardy at minus 142. I think she squeaks out a decision. I think it's gonna be split. You can probably play split, or not probably, you can play by split decision on DraftKings Sportsbook or whatever book you play, and you might be getting some decent money on that. So, Evan, what do you like on the first female fight of the night?
Yeah, I mean, I saw the same thing. I watched a few of each of their fights. Same thing I had written down with JJ Aldridge. Her boxing looked pretty solid. Takedown defense looked pretty solid. I don't think that either one of them is going to really want to go to the ground. I heard in the broadcast that I was watching about the Hardy fight that she's like a 5-time Taekwondo U.S. champion or something. Right. So she's going to look to keep it on the feet probably. Her kicks looked really good. I think that's how she's going to win the fight is by kicking the legs out of Aldridge. So I was leaning towards Hardy as well. Nice. I think the over is a lock too, but yeah, I'm going to go Hardy.
Yeah, the over, let me pull that up right now. I mean, I'm sure it's in the minus 400. Yeah, the over 2.5 is minus 500. I mean, listen, 5-1, but you're good. That's good to hit, guys. In Taekwondo, people, you hit it nail on the head. She's very good with kicks. Taekwondo, though, they don't have a lot of power. They don't produce a lot of knockouts. It's a very point fighting style, but you're right. She's very good at that. And I see her winning a decision here to kick off the night, though. But JJ Aldridge, she's got some sneaky boxing, and I always overlook her. She's kind of got like a weird body type, right? She's super pale, but she can bang a little bit, right? She scrap a little bit, but we're both aligned there with the Veronica Hardy. All right, next up, fight I'm looking forward to. This card's sneaky fucking good. This card is deep for the true MMA fans. Jarrett Gooden, the Night Train, baby. One of the best nicknames out there. My buddy loves Jarrett Gooden. Plus 180 versus Kevin Jusset, I think how you say his name. John's probably going to kill me with that pronunciation. Jusset. Thank you, Evan.
Jusset.
Minus 218. Jusset coming from the City Kickboxing Camp. I believe he's 2-0 in the UFC right now. Getting a lot of hype from Izzy. Getting a lot of hype from those guys. I think he's pretty good. He's a big dude. He's powerful, but man, you're hanging plus 180 on me on Jarrett Gooden, the Night Train, who never got finished in UFC, got booted because he was losing close fights, destroyed competition outside the UFC, comes back as a big underdog, gets the knockout win. I'm going Gooden here at this underdog money. I'm going to play this as soon as we get done with this. That is a great number on Jarrett Gooden, and I know my buddy is going to be playing this heavy as well. Plus 180. I love it. Jusset, again, good style fighter. He might want to mix it up here, but I just think Gooden has the goods, and that's a play on words, Evan Longoria. So tell me who you like here.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the same thing. I watched Jarrett Gooden's last fight. I thought he was about to get finished in the first round. He comes back, right? Gets the finish in the second. I was 50-50 on it. I think as the fight goes further, Jusset is going to have the advantage. Obviously he doesn't have the power that Gooden has. I think if Gooden catches him early in the fight in the first round, obviously he has the power to put his lights out. I just don't know if he's going to be able to get close enough. With that kickboxing style, Jusset, his jab looked on point his last fight. I think with the style that Gooden has, his hands low, he kind of is almost Bobby Greenish, looking for that, that one punch finish. I don't know if that's going to work against Jusset, so I'm going to go with Jusset in this fight.
Jusset, early disagreement. I love that. Listen, I think Jusei is a great fighter. I do, and I'm glad you taught me how to pronounce his name. But there's something about an underdog Gooden. The guy's a dog. You know, you rip his chest open, there's just dogs there, right? I love a guy that loses close fights, gets booted from the UFC with UFC talent, proves he's talented, and comes back. The kid's hungry. I'm always worried about the weight with him, but I think he's got it dialed in now. He's a big boy. But yeah, early dissension here. By the way, I explained the point system, so we're gonna find out who wins here, Evan Longoria, at the end of this, at the end of the Saturday night. We'll definitely have you back on. I mean, you're you know, obviously know your shit. Next up, Charles Johnson plus 130 versus Jake Hadley minus 155. I'll let you kick this off, Evan. I've been talking too much. People are here to see you.
Yeah,
what do you like about this fight?
This fight is interesting because I've seen. It's Charles Johnson. Is that what it is?
Charles Johnson, yeah.
Johnson.
Chucky Johnson.
I watched a couple of his fights and I can't get past his hair. I hope he doesn't have that. I hope he doesn't have that.
The skullet, I think they call it. Is that what the kids are calling it? The skullet? Yeah.
If you haven't seen The Spirit of Truth, look it up. That's what it is.
Okay, I have not. I have to look it up.
It's this old YouTube video, The Spirit of Truth. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like this fight, I watched both of them. I mean, Hadley lost his last fight, got cut open early. And Johnson's just a dog, man. Like, honestly, like he battled through some adversity in the last fight, first round, and came back, took the guy's 0, right? He took
Asmat Maxim. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
In a really, really good fight that he didn't look great in the first round, to be honest with you, and just kind of, came back and found a way to win. So, but I, at the end of the day, I think Hadley's going to win this fight. I have a feeling you're going to pick the dog in this fight, but I just feel like Hadley, coming off a loss, I think he only has 2 losses, is going to be hungry. He looked, good until he didn't, kind of in that fight.
Sure.
His punches are nice and straight. He looks sharp. Grappling exchanges look really good, so I think he'll probably look to get the fight to the ground, and but you never know. He's English, so he might want to just bang it out too.
Sure,
but Hadley would be my pick.
Yeah, great breakdown. I like Charles Johnson a lot. I've lost a lot of money on Charles Johnson. I can't get the guy right. Like, he should go out there and win a lot of fights. Fights when he fights are very close. But I am a fan of Jake Hadley. I am. I think Jake Hadley's good off his back. He ran into a buzzsaw with Cody Durden. It was a very competitive fight. He got cut up. Cody Durden is a relentless grappler, and Charles Johnson has that in his bag of tricks, but he just doesn't do it. He likes to bang it up. He likes to create chaos. He likes to have these style fights. I think Jake Hadley's boxing's clean. His body shots are beautiful. He's good off his back, like I mentioned. This is going to be an absolute scrap. I truly don't know. I'm not going to put money on it. My pick is Hadley, but man, this is going to be an absolute scrap for sure. This was almost, I looked at this hard for a slime ball candidate because it was hard for me to find a slime ball in this card, because I'm going a lot of underdogs, and the slime ball, you generally take all the favorites. Hadley was a real hard look for me, but I'm like, man, he could lose it on the cards when it becomes a dog fight. We don't know what the judges are going to do.
I think over is the play in this one too.
Yeah,
I don't see either one of them getting finished. It's going to go to the cards. And I just think, like, you're in the grappling exchanges. Like, I feel like Hadley's going to win them, and he can have a decent amount of control time if he wants it to go that route too. So
for sure. And I've seen Charles Johnson have 3-round cardio and look great. I've seen him slow down. So what Charles Johnson is going to show up? The over's 2.5 minus at minus 270. Don't hate that as well. Hadley by sub is something maybe I'll look into as well, because I think the guy does have a good triangle off his back. But I don't know if I'm going to run to the window to play that one. All right, next up, Billy Goff plus 136 versus Trey Waters minus 162. Trey Waters is 2 fighters on this card that's 6'5", fighting on 170 pounds. Woo! That's a tall boy. That's a tall drink of water. See, that's another wordplay, Evan, on Trey Waters. You see how that's done?
Tall drink of water. Yeah,
it's pretty good, man.
You did your homework on it.
Pretty good, dude. Billy Goff. There are a ton of Goffs in the west side of Cincinnati. There's literally like 50 of them, right? So I'm very familiar with the last name. Billy Goff, though, is a dog. Like, he loses fights, he gets hurt to the body, but he comes back always. He does have power. He's 5'10" against 6'5". Trey Waters looked good against Josh Quinlan, who sometimes can be a punching bag, and Billy Goff, again, sometimes can be a punching bag, but he does mix up the fight pretty well. That's a lot of legs to get under to try to take him down on Trey Waters, who, if you look at his record, he's fought guys that are 3-3, 0-6, 6-6. He hasn't really fought elite competition before the UFC. And I think Billy Goff just has a dog in him. Plus 136. I was hoping to get a better number on him because Trey has all the optics. He's tall. He's a good striker. This come from a good camp, yada, yada, yada. And Billy's more of a scrapper, more of a modern day Matt Brown. He's going to lose some fights, but he's going to dog some fights out as well. I'm going to go Billy Goff. I'm going to go underdog. I'm going to go the Goff name, and I plus 136 again. I don't know how much I'm going to be. I wish he was like closer to like plus 180, plus 200, so you can get a real bang for your buck. But looks like some money's coming in on Billy Goff because he opened at plus 140. So give me Billy Goff. How do you see this fight going, Ev?
Yeah, this is one of the fights I know nothing about. I did see that he was 6'5", 170. I don't even know how anybody makes that weight. How do you get down to that weight?
It's insane.
There's a guy I played with in Arizona last year named Miguel Castro.
Okay.
And I think he was 6'5", 170, and I couldn't even imagine being like he looked like he didn't even fit in his uniform.
No, right.
And I think about his legs and how his legs looked in his uniform. It's like one kick to the legs,
skinny legs, dude. Yeah.
Good night, but yeah, I don't know anything about either one of them. I didn't get a chance to watch either one of their fights, but I did see that that Goff is a finisher. He's got a ton of first round finishes, so I'm assuming there's some power there. I'm going to follow you. I'm going to tell you on this one and go with Goff.
There you go. You're a smart man. I mean, it could get ugly quick for Billy Goff because of the size. I mean, when you're 5'10", fighting a 6'5" guy with just length for days, if he knows how to use it, that's a really frustrating night in the office. But I feel like if he mixes things up really well, the distance isn't going to be that big of a deal. So we'll see. They're both young guys, unproven guys. We'll take the dog number on that one. All right, next up, a fight that I'm really looking forward to. Both these females are basically kind of the same. Tabitha Ricci, minus 148 versus Tisha, formerly Torres, now Pennington, married to Raquel Pennington, plus 124. They're built the same. Tabitha Ricci's almost like the new tiny tornado in Tanisha Torres, Pennington. And Pennington's been out for 2 years. She had a baby. She's a mom. She got that mom strength now. I'm going to let you kick it to this one because this one I see a lot on MMA Twitter, this being very decisive. People are opposite of this fight, right? They're locking up Ricci. They're saying we got a great dog number in Pennington/Torres. I want to know what the great Evan Longoria thinks.
Yeah. Also, another fight. I've seen both of these women fight a few times. Again, same person. I feel like I'm gonna just lean towards the hotter one in my opinion. Tabitha Ricci.
Oh, okay. All right.
And also, coming off a pregnancy and a baby. I mean, you never know how that's going to go. I mean, obviously she has that mom strength now, and she might likely have a little bit more of a fire in her, fighting for a child, and all that comes with that. So taking nothing away from her, I know that being a mom is probably the hardest job in the world.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with fighting. Like fighting's probably way easier than being a mom right now. But I like Tabitha Ricci. She's relentless on the feet. I think she's gonna, probably try and get in tight. And it's gonna be a decision, 100%. So we'll see.
Yeah, I like the over as well, which before I get my breakdown, I'll chase that number. Over 2.5, minus 410. So again, Vegas is getting on the steam with the female overs. It's a tale of two sides, because when Amanda Nunes, I know she didn't give birth, but when she came back from being a mother, she destroyed. She was a fucking lioness, right? But then Mackenzie Dern gave birth, came back as a mother, and was a little too soon. Tisha, I think, has done it right. 2 years, you're getting your body back. She's ripped up. Before that, because years prior, she was always a decision girl, always losing close fights. She was never aggressive enough. Right before she had her child, she started really ramping up the aggression. Her takedown offense is great. Her boxing's good. She's tough, never been finished, like knocked out. And then you got Ricci, who wants to get the fight to the ground. I don't know if she can. Her boyfriend's Callum Walsh, who's a up-and-coming boxer who's fantastic. I don't know if that's rubbing off on her because she's staying in LA with him, and there's not a ton of great female training partners in LA. You got Mackenzie Dern, you got Jason Perillo if you want to work with him, but she's kind of sticking with Callum. So I don't know her overall game here. I like Tisha Pennington here at plus 124. She is an underdog. Thought this line would be a little bit closer because Ricci has looked great in the UFC, but she hasn't fought this level of competition yet. But I do think Pennington being off 2 years, I get the line at this point, more active versus not. But I think Pennington's going to come out. I think it's going to be an overfight, like you said, going to decision, and hopefully we can cash on the underdog money with Pennington there at plus 124. Again, baby stuff. We're not getting huge numbers here. All right, next up, Terrence McKinney, plus 136 versus Esteban Ribovics, which I kind of messed that up. Minus 162.
Yeah.
Whew. A lot of people like Esteban. A lot of people like Esteban. They think he's a good up and coming fighter. I think he has shown up pretty good in the UFC. He's got knockout power, but man, McKinney is something else. In the first round, this dude does not stop. He's looking for a neck. He's trying to knock you out. He's a 1-round fighter. So for the people listening, people watching, Terrence McKinney, round 1 knockout submission, absolutely load up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out this big motherfucker right here. This is my green hammer right here, Ev, okay? You see me swing this thing. This is my green hammer. I like Terrence McKinney at the dog money, plus 136. That's a money line bet. Boom, book it. I also like the green hammer is going to be a double chance. KO submission, plus 150. They're giving you a plus money on that. And if you want to do KO submission round 1, it's going to even better money. I think McKinney's going to overwhelm this dude. I think he hasn't fought an athlete like McKinney, and I think he's going to absolutely blow him out in the round 1. Now, it could be dead wrong. After round 1, run for the hills and bet all you got on Esteban because McKinney's a 1-round fighter. Evan, who do you like?
Yeah, this is a fight that I really, when I was looking through the card, super excited about. I think both of them. I had never seen. Is it Ribovics or
Ribovics? Yeah, I believe so.
Ribovics.
Yeah,
I'd never seen him fight. I watched his last fight beginning to end. Exciting fighter. Ton of volume, ton of pressure. Seemed like a little bit of a punching bag though.
Mm-hmm.
Like he got a great chin. Great chin. I mean, he didn't stop marching forward, but and his cardio was really good. So I had the same things written down in my notes. I love Terrence McKinney. I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think, obviously, if you follow him at all, like this dude can put anybody's lights out in the first round. Crazy, right hand to a knee that knocked, what's his name? Malad or the guy that he knocked out his last fight.
Yeah.
You almost put him out cold and finished him on the ground
Mm-hmm.
in, I think, 20 seconds. So, yeah, I went back and forth on this one
Mm-hmm.
because I really like Terrence McKinney, but I had the exact same thing written down. I'm going to go with Ribovics just because I think that he's going to be smart enough to get through the first round.
Okay.
And if he doesn't get through the first round, then, your analysis is going to be spot on.
Yeah.
I think if McKinney catches him with a big shot, it gets him to the ground and he's going to finish him. But I think that, Ribovics is going to be able to weather the storm in the first, and then after the first, I think he kind of takes over. Maybe he might get a finish, but I could see it. I could see it going to the cards as well. But I like Ribovics.
Yeah, I think finish or bust for either guy because, like I said, McKinney falls off the cliff. I like what he's doing though. He was up in Spokane, Washington. I think that's still his main club up there with Kiesa and all those guys. But he's mixing it up. He's going to Vegas. He's training with guys like Jamal Hill and using that PI. He's starting to really mix it in. I think it's only going to help his career. He's getting new looks. I know he's been working with Aljo a lot in Vegas and Marab and all those killers in Vegas. So I think that's going to improve him. But sometimes guys, no matter what you do, they're a bull in the China shop in that round 1, and they just can't go 3 rounds. He just might be a guy that can't go 3 rounds. I see a finish no matter what. But yeah. Evan's on Esteban. I'm on Terrence. After round 1, this is a great hedge too. Play all your money, not all your money. Play a lot of your props. Round 1 finished by either guy. And if it gets out of round 1, load up on Esteban because I really don't see Terrence winning past the first round. I don't think he has any wins past the first round if I'm not mistaken. All right, next up. Chase Hooper. This fucking guy. Plus 124 versus, can't pronounce his name, so I'm going to go Slavoklos. That's his nickname. Slavoklos minus 148. Grappler versus striker. This is such an old school matchup because Chase is so bad at striking and Slava has no takedown offense. I'm curious to see what Evan Longoria is going to go here.
Yeah, this is I was at the PI or at the Apex for Chase Hooper's last fight, and I've seen him fight a couple times. There's been a couple. I think the fight before this one, he actually just got beat up.
Yeah.
And then he fought Jordan Levitt at the Apex while we were there.
Yeah.
And Jordan Levitt is a great grappler in his own right, and Hooper just kind of made him look like a baby,
Right.
just like a little boy. Manhandled him, took his back, had him in an arm, bar that he didn't finish, ended up taking his back and choking him out, and kind of made it look easy. I was a fan of Chase Hooper early, and then I kind of fell off, and he looked bad in a couple of fights, but he's young, man, super young.
Yeah.
He's 24 years old.
Yeah.
I think he came into the UFC when he was 21 or something. So,
I think 19 maybe.
Yeah.
It was super young. Yeah.
He's also, I feel like every time I've seen him, and again, if you're 19 coming in and then you're basically growing up in front of people's eyes, like he's starting to look like a man, body's starting to fill out, like he's starting to, put on that actual muscle weight. And like I said, he bodied Jordan Levitt. So this is an interesting fight because Slavoclaws can really bang, super technical on the feet. I just think, it's like I'm a huge fan. My favorite guy is Sean O'Malley. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Everybody always the grappler versus striker thing with Sean. Everybody's always like, with Aljo, with whoever. It's like he's gonna get taken down, he's gonna get submitted, know, and then he continues to just put people's lights out. So I think that I think it's going to be a long, frustrating night for Chase Hooper. I think he's just going to get peppered, pot-shotted, and then eventually, he might get rocked and finished. But I like Slava here.
Yeah. I wish we knew each other a few years ago because I've been singing Sean O'Malley's praise forever. I have a text chain with my buddies, and I said Sean O'Malley's going to be champion, and they laughed at me because they see Sean. Because I don't smoke weed. I don't play video games. I don't really have much in common with Sean. I just know how fucking talented he is. I know he's got a mind. I listen to him on Rogan. Him and Tim on Rogan, they're smart dudes. Don't be fooled by what he does to let loose and have fun. And he's incredibly skilled. So when he won the title, I don't really love to be like, I told you so kind of guy. That's not really my style. But man, it was I told you so.
That's how you get views. That's how you get views. I
went on a I told you so parade. Now with Chase Hooper, I swore when I went to the fights in Atlanta, he sat in front of me. It wasn't him. It was this real skinny, curly hair guy, and his chick with him was like the hottest girl I've ever seen. I said, "What are you doing with this guy?" That's just every time I think of Chase Hooper, I think of that. But it wasn't him, because his wife is not that girl that he was with in Atlanta. Anyway. Slavoclaw's got great boxing, great body shots. I'm worried about the takedowns, but he gets up really well. He's working with it. He's got a great camp in alpha male. He's never been submitted. Yeah, you can take him down 40 times in a fight, but he's never been submitted. Chase doesn't have the best wrestling, but when he gets the fight to the ground, he's really good in scrambles. He can take a leg, he can take a neck. He is strong. He's manning up. He's getting that man size on him. Way too weak in the beginning. Steve Garcia, that was a fight you referenced where he got knocked out. He looked horrible. I mean, I was like, this dude should maybe get out of the UFC for a while because he's not ready. And he got ready, right? He's from Washington. He's up in that small town in Washington. I don't know if he's really mixing up his training or not, but incredible ground game. And this was a tough fight for me to go back and forth with because I can see Chase winning and catching a submission because he's very good. But Slava's boxing's too tight. He's too powerful. Chase has zero defense. His defense is the pull guard. So I like Slavoclaws here, and I gotta do it. I gotta slime him up. His slime ball came in at number 1. It's a thin card with slime balls here. I actually hate the slime ball this week, but when you gotta be comfortable being uncomfortable when you bet fight sometimes. So we're both on the Slavoclaws train here, even though I'm very interested in this fight. All right, we got the big boys next. We got the heavy boys. We got Cortez Acosta plus 170 versus Robelis de Spain. Minus 205. If you don't know who Relabellis is, Taekwondo, I believe, bronze medal in the Olympics. Hasn't been out of the first round in his entire MMA career. I don't even think he's been out in the first 10 seconds. This is his second UFC showing. Has a longer reach than John Jones. He's 6'7", 6'8", enormous guy. He's fighting Acosta, former baseball player, former pitcher, I believe. Throws his left hand like a pitcher. Has some decent leg kicks now that he has been getting leg kicked up. I want to fade to Spain so bad because it's going to come. What's his ground game like? What's his cardio like? so many questions in MMA. He can't be blitzing people out, right? But Acosta's so confident in himself. He blindly took this fight, no problem. I love that in fighters, but he's defensively, he's a liability. You get hit by Despain, you get put down. Despain's going to come out like a freight train. Again, a good hedge bet here. Bounce to the second round, you're going Acosta, but I'm going to go to Spain. I'm going to root for him. I like this guy at heavyweight. He could be a star, just murdering people. The UFC lost Francis Ngannou. We need another murderer at heavyweight. This could be the guy, right? He has all the tools, but or he has all the physical tools. Let's see if he can develop the real tools for MMA. So I'm going to go to Spain at -205. I don't love it, but I will play it by knockout. Evan, who you like, bud?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm always like, I feel like I'm always rooting for the underdog too. Like I really want to see, you know, the guys that with the plus number next to him win, especially because, you know, all these guys put in work, right? Like they're all, you know, most of them are doing the same amount of work, the same amount of dedication. A lot of them putting jobs aside, you know, just going after it and not making a whole lot of money. So I love to pull for the underdog. I love, you know, guys to make that money and earn, you know, earn their way up. And so, but I will say, Acosta's last fight, he fought Arlovsky.
Right. Yeah.
And that fight made me dislike him.
Yeah.
Because it was like he was dancing around like he was Muhammad Ali.
Yep.
And, you know, Andrei Arlovsky was pissed, and there was just it was just a little bit disrespectful in my eyes. And it wasn't a great performance. Like he was kind of pot shotting him. You know, he got a couple of big blows off, but it was like there wasn't a whole lot of engagement. He didn't really do a whole lot. He won the fight kind of unimpressingly, in my opinion. And so I'd like to see him get put out in the first round. I think he's gonna get touched, as you know, as we know, you know, if Despain puts it on your chin, then you're gonna go 9-9. So I think that's gonna happen. Probably, I imagine the under is a big number as well, but I think Despain puts him out.
Yeah,
pretty easily.
Despain by knockout, just by knockouts, -165, which is unheard of, and then the under is 1.5, which I'm surprised I didn't mark it as a half, is -220. So not as big as you would think, because I guess Vegas is hedging their bets. So like, listen, if this dude can't get him out of there in the first round, then he might drown. And Costa has a good left hand, but he's not a potent finisher. And you're right. I'm glad you said that. I didn't bring that up. He fucking was showboating against Arlovsky in a fight you barely won, bro. Like I don't like showing up legends. Like I hate Ihor Potera, who got just absolute mauled by Pereira last week because of the goofy shit he did with Shogun. Fuck that guy. I don't like guys disrespecting legends. And he did that with and buddy, you're not even winning the fight, really. I mean, it's a close fight. And he kind of does that. That's his like salsa boy thing that he got. You know, he dances a lot. Right. He gets his leg kicked off and he's dancing. Like, dude, you're not walking for a week after that. But I'm glad you brought that up, Evan, because you know what? Fuck that guy. You know what I mean? Fuck that guy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, quit playing nice. Fuck that guy. All right, next up, interesting fight here. We got Alex Caceres, Bruce Leroy, +170 versus Sean Woodson, -205. A buddy who I do the podcast with, Timbo. He's a white dude. Looks exactly like Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson, I saw fight live, and I saw him feet away from me in Nashville last August. And I know he's like 6'3", 6'4", whatever he's listening at. He looks 7 foot because his legs and arms are so long. And he's on a little bit of a streak now. He pieced up Bazooka, who's on a nice little run now. One of Ray Longo's guys in Nashville. I know Bazooka took that on like relatively short notice, like 4 days notice, but pieced him up. And then he won it, he's looked good. He's the only time he hasn't looked good against Luis Saldana, who was a similar guy to Caceres. And Caceres has been in the UFC forever, but I think he's starting to slow down just a little bit. I don't know what kind of fighter he wants to be. He's not much of a striker anymore. He does have some sexy kicks, but I like Woodson here. I'm sliming him up, goddammit. -205, Sean Woodson. I do like this pick. I don't know if I like him in a parlay because Caceres can surprise, and Woodson has laid some duds in the past, but right now he's on a really good trajectory. Length is a lot in this division. I'm going to go Woodson. Tell me I'm wrong, Evan.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I like Woodson in this fight as well. I just feel like also too in this division, the lower weight classes, age starts to play a big factor.
Yeah.
Not so much in the heavier weight classes, but and I'm not saying, I mean, shit, I'm 38 myself, so I'm not saying that
Yeah.
by any means. I just looked it up. Alex Caceres is 35 years old, so
Sure.
he's younger than me, but got a lot of fights under his belt. I mean, 21-14. Sean Woodson probably, he's the younger fighter at 31. He's got some momentum, and I don't think the fight goes to the ground. I think they just strike the whole fight probably, and I think Woodson's better at that.
Yeah. I mean, it's clean, simple, and you're right. The lower weights, because Caceres used to cut to 35 too, which he's not a small dude cutting to 35. That was a bad thing, but he's got a lot of fight miles on him. Maybe 35, but he's been doing this for almost 20 years probably. I mean, he used to do backyard fights as a teenager down in Florida, so he's been doing this a long time. But he's looked okay. He's looked pretty good. But I like Woodson. I think Woodson's gonna, go on a nice little run here. He's an awkward dude, and I was really confident when he fought Bazooka in Nashville, and I was right there. And I know, again, this is Dennis on however many days' notice, but he shut Dennis down. He took him down at will, and it was an impressive performance by Sean Woodson. So again,
and I also think these guys that Woodson being on the streak that he is, I think that when guys like this start to sniff that top 15 is when their best performances start to come out, so I think he sees the number in front of him. He's going to want to take that number, and obviously these guys, the paychecks start to get bigger when you get those top 15 fights,
right?
You start to get pay-per-view looks or fight night looks, and so it's or main event looks, I should say. And I think that he's going to be hungry, and he's going to want to take that number as well.
Love it. I love it. All right, next fight, Diego Ferreira plus 310. Now we're getting some chunky underdogs here versus Mantausch. John sent over this pronunciation.
It's Ronbesky.
Yeah, it's like Rizbetsky. It's weird. He throws a lot of S's in there, which I don't know where those are at. Yeah. But Mantausch, I'm just going to say Rebecki. What, fuck it. Minus 395. Rebecki's a beast. I mean, he is an absolute
beast.
He is a beast. He's good everywhere. He's a murderer in there. Diego is, I think, on probably his last legs in the UFC. Great grappler, great scrambler, cardio a little weak. He's coming off a knockout win over Michael Johnson, but he was losing that fight the entire time. And just in typical Michael Johnson fashion, got caught and got put out, a fight that he's winning. Kind of the story of his career. I don't see that happening with Rizbecki here. He's just a fucking stud. I see him just doing whatever he wants. Don't know if he'll get a submission. That's kind of what his bread and butter. Maybe a TKO, maybe even a decision win. Not really sure if I'm going to play any of the props. I know that's kind of a way to chew at this number at minus 395. But again, that's my anchor, my slime ball parlay right there. I mean, Rizbecki, I think could be the lock of the card, depending how you're seeing it. But I like him big here, and it sounds like you might like him big too.
Yeah. He was going to be my mortal lock
nice.
As well too. Like I think this dude has all the tools to be, a top 5 fighter without a doubt. Cardio incredible, ground game on point, striking so fast, man, so fast.
Yeah.
And he just looks like a little pit bull in there.
He does.
Just like nonstop, forward pressure. He just seems like he's stronger than everybody in exchanges on the ground. And I mean, I think Diego Ferreira is like 39 years old too. Yeah. So again, another guy who's up there in age, a lot of miles. I just think when I looked at the numbers for this fight, I thought it should have been like 500.
Yeah.
I thought he should have been north of minus 500, just because of how good he's looked in his last couple fights. And he's my mortal lock.
Yeah, that's where you want to go all in on. I think Vegas is betting like Ferreira. It's been here. It's been a while. He's a finisher. Rizbecki, he might get caught, right? This isn't Roosevelt Roberts, his last fight. Even though I think the Loic Rat, I can't pronounce his fucking last name. When he knocked him out, that dude's sturdy. And he blitzed that dude, right? That was the most impressive win I think of him. And I think he can do that to anybody, including a 39-year-old Diego Ferreira. So, we both like Rizbecki big time here, and I think a lot of people will as well. All right, another big boys, 205ers, Alonzo Menafield, Zoe is what they call him on the streets, plus 220 versus Carlos Olberg, pretty boy, handsome old guy, minus 270. Evan, I'll let you go. How do you see these 205ers going here, bud?
Yeah, I mean, this to me is an interesting fight. I think it's gonna be. I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be as exciting as people think it's gonna be.
Okay.
Both of these guys, big power, right? Like, if somebody gets popped, it's likely going to be a few punches and then the fight's going to be over.
Mm-hmm.
For me, Olberg, he is a city kickboxing guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Main
So,
training partner of Izzy.
So similar style to Izzy, right? Like a counter striker, likes to fight off his back foot, but obviously has some really great kicks. Boxing is clean. And I think with Menafield, and from what I've seen in his fights, he fought Dustin Jacoby his last fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in that fight, it seemed like he couldn't really get off. Like he couldn't get going because Jacoby's forward pressure just didn't really, he had to counter strike kind of the whole fight, didn't really allow him much space. And I think it's going to be the opposite. So for this fight, I think Menafield's going to be able to kind of press forward a little bit more, maybe get off first. And if he gets off first and starts to put it on Olberg, I think he has a chance to win. So I'm going to go with Menafield in this fight.
Wow, you Shanghai me, bro. I thought you were going Carlos Olberg the whole time. I love Menafield in this fight as well. Carlos Olberg is a pretty dude, handsome as get out, and he's a pretty fighter. Izzy's vacationing. I don't know how much time he's getting in with Izzy, right? And Menafield, ever since he left his team in Texas, which I don't know if he fully left, but he just worked with Pat Barry. He got out of the voices out of his head. He became a dog. In that Jacoby fight, he was getting outstruck, but his power kept rocking Jacoby, dropped Jacoby. Jacoby's a high-level kickboxer who fought Alex Pereira. Like, this dude's legit kickboxer. Yeah. And Menafield's power is just, it's there. His confidence is there. His chin is there. What you got to worry about Menafield is when the fight touches the ground. Olberg does have a rear naked choke win, but he's not going to really hunt for the takedown. He's going to want to stand up. He's going to strike. He blew his load early in his career and got finished. Kind of see that happening here. The guy is hittable, and he's proven to have an okay chin, but when Menafield connects with that, I mean, the guy's chest is bigger than my goddamn house. You're going to feel it. So I like Menafield with you. I thought I was going to sneak one past you there. Plus 220 is a gorgeous number on Alonzo Menafield. And I'm going to play him by knockout as well, which I believe that prop is up. So let me just chase that since I have the access to internet. The over under set 1.5. The over is minus 145. That's a decent number. Wow. Menafield by KO plus 450. Add it to my fucking card. That is a gorgeous number because I think he could finish Olberg for sure. All right, co-main event, which I think should be the main event. Joaquin Buckley minus 135, and this line is a moving. Nursultan Rozaboyev plus 114. Trey Waters 6'5", 170. Rozaboyev 6'5", 170. Coming down from 85. 2 career wins in the UFC so far, both by first round knockout. Kid's a stud. Joaquin Buckley is from St. Louis. I love the marketing this young man does. He called Dana White at the press conference, put me on St. Louis card. Let me get the main event. Let me go 5 rounds. He's at the right weight class now. He went down from 85 to 170. The only problem with Buckley is he's super athletic. He's super explosive. He's working with Craig Jones down in Houston, getting some really good jiu-jitsu in. I love all that, but he's got a bit of a chin problem, right? He's been knocked out a few times outside the UFC. My guy Chris Curtis got him in the UFC. Kevin Holland got him in the UFC. Alessio DiCicchio got him in the UFC, which is a really ugly loss. All those at 185 pounds. He's undefeated at 170, I believe. Maybe he's got one loss. I can't remember. If Buckley,
I think Chris Curtis was at 85, right?
85, yeah. Chris Curtis was 85. So
he's got three wins in a row at 70.
There you go. So he's undefeated at 70. And again, right weight class for him. If he was the underdog, I pick him. Hometown kid wants his fight, but Nursultan at plus money, who is a killer in the first round. It gets out of the first round, bet Buckley. Buckley needs to mix this up. He needs to take it to the long distance. I can see why he won the 5 rounds, but Nursultan hasn't been finished since 2014. The guy's nails. He's 6'5", power puncher. The weight cut, obviously, let's wait to the scales to see what we got. I already have a bet in on him. I got him at plus 142 earlier this week, which is insane number. Because I do think he's going to win this fight. I'm taking Nursultan. I'm taking him by knockout. I like Joaquin Buckley. And it sucks that I'm rooting against a guy getting knocked out in his hometown. I don't want that. But I had to watch Rich Franklin get knocked out in Cincinnati. So I'm heartless. So give me Nursultan by KO. Evan, how do you see this fight?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of talked me out of it the other way. I really, I like Nursultan. I think he's an amazing striker. I only watched one of his fights, but he's a finisher through and through. I just think that Buckley is going to use that momentum that he's got going and use that experience and the movement. I mean, his movement has looked so good in his last couple fights.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be able to kind of pick his shots. Like I said, use that experience, avoid some of the bigger shots of Ruzboyev, and eventually take him into deep water and maybe get a finish. But I think this fight gets finished. I think somebody's going to get a finish in this fight. I don't see it going to the cards. And I think, like you said, once it gets past the first round, I like Buckley by finish.
Man, love that. Yeah, I'm confident in Nursultan. Just check Nursultan by knockout. It's plus 330. I mean, that's insane, because I think if he win, the only way he wins is by knockout, I think. Unless a club and sub, and we thought Michel Pereira would win by knockout, and he just fucking took a neck home. So, what I mean? So a club and sub can happen, but Buckley, again, has been training with some high-level guys. I think Craig Jones, with Gordon Ryan being on the sidelines, is probably the best jiu-jitsu player in the world, and he's really good at doing jiu-jitsu for MMA, which is kind of a different beast as well. All right, main event. I'm not like crazy about this main event, if I'm being honest with you. Derek Lewis, minus 155 versus Rodrigo Nascimento, plus 150. Nascimento, people like this guy. They think this is the side for him. I can never get a Derek Lewis fight right, so I don't really play him much. I kind of just maybe throw a couple bucks on him by knockout, because that's kind of the only way he wins. So I'm going to go Derek Lewis by knockout. I wish I had more in this main event. Nascimento has been finished before, hasn't looked good, hasn't fought the level of competition. If Derek Lewis shows up with his abs again, like he did his last fight, I think we're looking at a knockout here. But Derek Lewis, this guy just main events and makes millies every so months, even if he wins or loses or nothing. The guy's just fucking, people love him. So why not throw him in a main event, even though I would like to see Buckley in this spot. But yeah, give me Derek Lewis. I don't have a strong take on this one. Do you?
No. I mean, I could probably say a little bit more, but all I'm going to say is I want Derek Lewis to win because I want to see his post-fight interview.
Yeah,
they're always epic.
Yeah.
So, the last fight, I think he fought Rogerio de Lima. Is that who he fought? And had a flying knee.
Yeah. Well, but was that his last fight? I know he. Let me hold on. I got it right in front of me. He fought Jailton Almeida his last time out and got decision.
Oh, okay.
But his last win was de Lima. You're right, and he flying knee KO'd him. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I just think that this guy's obviously not going to lay on him like Jailton Almeida did. Doesn't have the ground game. I don't think that Almeida did. I just think he's going to win by KO. It'll probably be a slugfest, but it could just end in one punch. So We'll see. But I don't think, like you said, the skill level that Nascimento's fought is nowhere near what Derek Lewis has fought. I just don't think he's ready.
And I forgot about the Almeida fight. It was so bad. But if Almeida, the way to beat Derek Lewis is take him down. If Almeida couldn't finish him on the ground, that went 5-round decision. Nascimento has no chance of finishing him on the ground, in my opinion, right? Jailton Almeida is great on the ground. Nascimento, heavy, big body, but if Almeida couldn't finish him, Derek Lewis is going to get finished on the ground by Nascimento. All right, Evan. So great job. Let's get to your locks. You're the guest. You get to pick first. You want your mortal lock, Rozbecki, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
All right, mortal lock.
My mortal lock.
Rozbecki. All right, let me give you my mortal lock. Oh man. Tough sledding here. I'm gonna go Sean Woodson. I think that's the guy I think would probably get it done. All right. So you want your dog lock or you send him home? You get to pick. Whatever one you want to go next.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused at the I thought I was just gonna pick 3 and then another dot. So anyways, I'll pick the send him home.
Okay.
I'll take the send him home, and it's going to be to Spain.
The Spain. That's smart. That is smart right there. And the reason I do the send him home is because before I was even on the Anakin Florian podcast, I listened to it. I was a fan of it. John started opened the podcast with send him home early.
Send him home early.
And I love that clip. I'm like, I need that for the thing. I'm trying to get John to record it for me so I have a better, cleaner audio, but just the guy that's going to get it done, right? I like that send him home. It's classic. I'm actually going to go Ooh. I'm gonna go. Let's just have some fun. I'm gonna go Terrence McKinney, send him home. I have it as my green hammer. I'm gonna double down. Terrence McKinney's gonna get it done. Add an underdog there. I like it. All right, last pick here. Dog lock. Who's that underdog you like?
I think we're both gonna go with him. I like. Well, actually, you chose Olberg, but I'm gonna take Menefield.
But
Menefield is my dog.
I picked Menefield as well. I'm not going to dog lock Menefield.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So yeah, we're both on Menefield. We both like Menefield. I am not going to pick Menefield. What I'm going to pick is Nursultan. So we're opposite that. So you like Buckley, I like Nursultan. So that's co-main event. That could decide who's going to win this competition.
Yeah,
that
100%.
really means nothing besides our egos. So Evan, thank you so much for doing this, buddy. Hopefully not the last time. You obviously know all your shit. You're a great guy. You're, famous, world-renowned, future Hall of Famer in my book. So hopefully I didn't jinx you. I know baseball players are superstitious, so I don't want to jinx you. I don't want to say it, but in my opinion, you are. You're the man, bud. All right, that's it. That's the show. Thank you, guys.